Hello everyone, CrystalFissure here, and welcome to Two-Sided CrystalFissure. I've got two bits of lighting on this side and none on this side, so it's like sort of a duality thing going on here. Today, we're taking a look at a newsagent. Well, not really a newsagent, but rather what I bought from the newsagent. Yep, it is none other than I don't know what the hell that is. It is Crash is Back. This is the Crash Bandicoot. This is the PlayStation magazine, Australia. I believe that it's not just the Australian version. This was like in the UK, I believe, the US, around the world. We've got a Crash Bandicoot front cover, and what a, I was talking to actually my friend Unlisted Leaf. He let me know. He was like, "Oh, CrystalFissure, Andrew, there's a Crash Bandicoot magazine now," and I thought it could be the one I saw on Reddit or whatever, and here it is. It is indeed that. So we're going to have a quick look at it. We're going to read through it and actually see what there is to say. Now, here on the front cover there, we've got Crash there sliding. This is like an old. In fact, by the time this came out, this is like the June 2017 issue for Australia. I'm pretty sure it was like the May issue for somewhere else. So the interesting thing is that this is obviously like catered to, like Australian audiences. They've got like Australian exclusive stuff and everything. But what I really want to see is the Crash stuff. But this costs 15 bucks, so not cheap at all. But there's some interesting stuff in here, so hopefully I can get some value out of it. Like it not just be for Crash Bandicoot. So we'll keep going through here. We'll have a look. What's this? Is that Overwatch? Yeah, Overwatch stuff. Well, yeah, okay. I haven't played that game, but heard it's pretty. Actually, I have played it. I played it once. All right, we've got a disc in here. I don't know what that disc will be. That should be very interesting. Hopefully, how good would it be if it was a demo of Crash? Yeah, we can only dream. All right, okay. Oh, looks like it's going to be the main event. They're quite. Oh, look. Oh, interesting. Be kind, rewind, and this says remasters, remakes, reboots, and reimaginings. How digging up PlayStation's past is key to defining its future. Very much so. And look at that. The logo was never that bad. Look, the logo was never that bad. Come on, that's a bit harsh. All right, so we've got Final Fantasy remake in here. I know this is a bit of a magazine review now here. Resident Evil 2 remake. Wait, they're not actually doing that, are they? Loco Roco? No, I think it's more just ideas. Where the is Spyro? Where is Spyro? Parappa the Rapper? What the fuck? Oh my god. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's get ready. That says crashing the PS4 party. You can probably read, guys. Don't think we're speaking to people that can't. And if you can't, if you're a young kid, welcome. All right, here we go. Wait, is it now? Okay, here we go. We've got this page on here. Looks very, very nice. There we go. Nice big picture of N-Sane Beach, and I believe they're speaking to Dan. Dan Tanguay. This is the Vicarious Visions director, designer, and writer, Dan Tanguay. All right, so I'm going to read out a few little highlights here that we can see here. So. There might get some close-up zooms of the magazine as well. I don't know if this is even legal to do this, or to just like share what they're doing, but yeah, got more stuff there. So I'm just going to give it a brief run through, and then we'll look at it in more detail in a minute. So this is like running wild in Hang 8. The new time trial mode will change how you play Crash Bandicoot, and that is very true. I mean, like that is going to be the really interesting thing, is putting the time trials in 1 and 2. So people like Ratchet 5. Who want original Crash games. This is the next step to getting that new Crash game that he wanted. Essentially, being able to now speedrun the games in a proper manner. Crash can now jump and land on platforms with tiptoe perfect precision. And the thing is, that is very much true. Like, look, the jury's out. I haven't seen it yet, but from what I'm looking at the controls, like Crash 1, I was playing it recently. I'm going to be straight up honest with you guys. It was practically, it's borderline disastrous. Some of the controls at times, Like just the jumps, like spin jump and then like falling off the cliff, like it wasn't refined, and that's fine. You know, it was Naughty Dog's first game. It's not their first game. They did Rings of Power and a couple other games before that. But yeah, I mean, it was, you know, they weren't as, you know, as great as they were now. All right, so I'll be right back when I find some little highlights. Okay, so here's one. Thanks to Vicarious Visions striving for balance, many fans will notice some subtle changes to the 3 Crash Bandicoot games being offered in the N-Sane Trilogy remake. As they unpick the code and level design of the games, the devs could clearly see how Naughty Dog had developed the series from an exceptional yet uncompromising debut to the impeccable Crash Bandicoot Warped. Over time, Naughty Dog grew into its games, making boss battles more readable and challenges more accessible. So why not make some changes? Why not bring Crash Bandicoot Cortex Strikes Back, yeah mate, Cortex Strikes Back, in line with Warped? The largest number of tweaks we've made is the notion of making the game easier to understand, explains Tanguay. While I think some of the bosses are fairly easy once you've figured them out, there's a certain learning curve to some of them, as I think they aren't as readable as some modern bosses. If you look at some of the bosses from the first game, Crash Bandicoot, compared to the third game, Warped, the boss designs themselves are much easier to understand in Warped than they are in the first game. So the notion of readability and pick up and play has been a really big focus, and we've actually tried to take the lessons that Naughty Dog learned over the course of making those 3 games and apply them universally to everything. So I think that's quite interesting, really. I think that's quite an interesting mentality because Crash 1, yeah, he's right, like Crash 1's bosses aren't as easy. Like they aren't as easy as Crash 3. I mean, Crash 3 definitely has some tough bosses and stuff like that, you know, tough, you know, within reason. You know, when you're older, not as difficult with that shine. But I do see the perspective that they're coming from. I wonder what changes they're going to make to the Crash 1 bosses, like if they're going to make changes at all. Dan adds, I found it fun to play, but I also found it and Naughty Dog's work to be incredibly inspiring for my career, so I have a very nostalgic view on Crash. With this at the forefront of all decisions, the aim is to make simple modifications that really don't change the overall dynamic of the gameplay, so much as to make it a little truer to what the intent of the gameplay was originally, explains Tanguay. Crash himself will always shine, whether on PS1 or PS4, the Warner Brothers animation style and bushy Marx Brothers eyebrows can't fail to make you smile. Crash's grin hints at a devilish attitude behind the cartoon facade. He's a naughty child caught with his hand in the Wumpa Jam jar. And on the PS4, he really shines. We've told the game has been rebuilt from the ground up. We imagine Crash raising a furry brow. This is a video game marketing talk almost as old as the marsupial himself. Yet for once we can see the work and the dev team's sheer love for the character up on screen. You can see the fur bristle on Crash as he flips and slides and scratches himself. Yeah, and here's the interesting part as well, and people have talked about this in the demo, but there's a new weight to the animation too, which makes every jump feel satisfying. Crash can now land on platforms with tiptoe perfect precision. Yeah, and you know, he adds that it's about challenging as recapturing the original feel of the gameplay, adding that the team has taken an unorthodox approach with these remakes. We don't actually have the original code to work from, and even if we did, it'd be so hard to port into our engine. So we're really just working from the original level geometry at this point. Thankfully, we have that, as that's really been our guiding star. So that's interesting. So they actually have the level geometry, so whether they reverse engineered it, got it from Naughty Dog themselves, that's interesting. They're looking to recapture the humour of the original game and look at the inspirations behind it and use the humour to push the tone and feeling that Naughty Dog was originally going for, and that's quite good. And there's a purpose to the slapstick jokes they had. Seeing Crash crushed by missed crates forced us to face our failures and replay the level. That's from the first game, of course. The Crash series demands you retread, repeat and explore. Hitting a exclamation mark crate turns previously transparent and ignored crate solid, and there's a secret route to unlock that's littered with extra Wumpa food to hoover up. Yeah, that's true. So we got there a slide into a jump thing to get bigger platform gaps and stuff like that, which they talk about. Every game in the trilogy can now be played in time trial mode. There are 84 levels of competitive free-running Wumpa collection. It's a small edition, but one that will reinvigorate the series for old and new fans. 100% agree. Alright, so then they add, when it comes to sharing more additions to the games, Tanguay is not exactly forthcoming. We ask if the levels Naughty Dog created but left out of the original games, such as Stormy Ascent, will make it back into the remakes. Now, I've briefly talked about this, and the thing is to me, what gives it away that it will probably be there, or something similar like bonus content will be there, is the fact that, like, this is an official Crash, you know, I'm sorry, not Crash, this is an official Sony PlayStation magazine, and they're bringing up essentially what would be hacking into the original game. So the only reason why people know about Stormy Ascent is because they hacked in, they got the prototype, or they got the prototype version, or whatever, and that's all like basically bootleg on the internet sort of stuff. So the fact they're mentioning it is quite a good sign. Dan says, "We can't reveal much on that just yet," he says hesitantly, "but with just enough of an awkward pause for us to hope it means something is on the way. Returning to specifics and what is in the N-Sane Trilogy, it's clear this is a remake full of heart by a team who love Crash Bandicoot. The game plays with a smooth fluidity that reminds us where Naughty Dog came from, and why after 20 years the original game, albeit with a dusting of refinements, still stands the test of time. Crash is in safe hands." And yeah, and that's it. And look, we've got a ukulele. Well, what am I going to give that? Actually, I've got 72. That's not bad. That's pretty good. Yeah, 72 is good. Yeah. So yeah, that's the Crash Bandicoot article. Very interesting. You know, I mean, a lot of that information has, if you've gone on Reddit, you've actually seen it. This is a bit old now, but I thought I might as well get an opportunity to show off the book as well, and, you know, get in front of the camera for a bit. I haven't done that for a while, since before the 16,000 subscriber thing. I hadn't been on my channel. I hadn't been on my own bloody channel for ages. But no, it's a good article, and, you know, we've talked about the editions, but I think that reading it out in person, reading it in the magazine, and the fact they've put it in there, I feel like if they didn't add anything, there would be a directive to not talk about it, you know, because it's like, why would you talk about something that, like, absolutely categorically isn't going to happen? It's like an episode of, like, Monday Night Raw, where, like, they'll talk about, like, oh, you want to have this match? And they'll be like, oh, you're not going to have it, and the crowd boos. It's like, well, why would you say that you're going to have a match and then not give it to the paying customers already? It's the same thing with this. They wouldn't put in, oh, you're going to add secret stuff, and then be like, oh, I can't say, and then just not add anything in, because then they look like douchebags. And then finally we have some behaving footage, or really just 2 seconds of it, from Giphy that Vicarious Visions posted. Well, it's a great preview, but seriously, after looking at this footage, I can't wait to see more. The actual, like, the honey on the beehive is just, oh, it's fantastic. Really, really, like, golden. As you can see there, it looks fantastic. The bees, as terrifying as ever. I don't want to get near them. I pretty much still have a phobia of bees to this day, and I reckon Crash probably somewhat inspired that. And then when you go into the ground, it actually looks like it's basically mud. Like, it didn't really look like that. It looked weird in the original game. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed that video. I know it was quite a long one, but plenty of cool stuff to come, hopefully. I know that it's going to be good when we get some more news and some more footage. See you guys.